Hi everyone, my name's Emily, and I'm making this video to talk about the Until Dawn movie that was inspired by the Until Dawn game, but wasn't really like the Until Dawn game. Until Dawn, the video game, came out in 2015 and was an interactive survival horror video game. So players would have to control 8 characters. The gameplay element here is that your choices matter, and all the 8 characters could die from your choices, or they all could survive. So it gave a lot of replayability, and also the idea of like, yes, your choices do matter. Basically, you had to just help the characters survive until dawn. So here's the premise of the video game. It starts off showing 2 girls named Beth and Hannah, and how their friend group's annual get-together ended tragically when they went missing after a prank. And so they're never found, they're missing, there's police tape everywhere. To be real with you, they fell down into a mine shaft where they were presumably dead. And so a year later, the brother of the 2 sisters, he's like, hey guys, I would still like to have our annual get-together at the mountain, even though my sisters have died. And you may think that's a little sketchy at first, which it is, but they all agreed to it just because, in a way, it's their way of honoring the sisters. Because, like I mentioned, there was a prank where that kind of started the whole thing. And so the friend group feels a little bit, I guess depending on how you play, can either feel guilty about it and want to make up for it, or they could just be resentful and not really be as mourning of the dead as they probably should be. It was just a prank though, so.
It was just a prank, Han.
With them coming back to the mountain, stuff happens. There's potentially a killer on the loose, but there's also other things that are happening throughout the whole night. And so basically, they have to survive until dawn because their lives are at stake here. And yeah, it was a big hit because it offered multiple things. One of the big things was the graphics in terms of the character models. At that point in 2015, their character models were very good. And especially, of course, the motion graphics, the motion capture or whatever, where it was very good in capturing the actors who played them, their emotions or their facial features. And so people thought that was really cool. Especially the Dr. Hill character, who kind of comes in at intermission in terms of like the chapter breaks. His character model was amazing. I mean, it still looks awesome even now, but yeah. And then another thing as well is the butterfly effect. I don't know why I'm quoting there, sorry. The butterfly effect, where it's the idea, they mention it very early on, the idea where whatever choice you make completely changes the potential possibility of what could happen. To give an example, Chris, one of the characters, he mentions how, hey, do you remember how I met my friend Josh, who was the brother of the 2 sisters? He said something about like this guy like taking the bra strap of some girl like and like snapping it back on her so like it snapped like her back, and basically they switched seats to where he was now introduced to Josh. If that had never happened, they might not have ever been friends. That idea is basically a giant motif throughout the whole game. One of the characters has a butterfly tattoo, and of course, just in general, the idea of your choices really matter in this game. It can be a life or death situation. So yeah. Also, by the way, I'm trying to dress up a little bit for the video. I'm dressed up like Mike, kind of. And I'm hoping it's working. Granted, it is May, where I'm wearing 3 layers that are just way too heavy. And so it's very hot in here, but I hope we're pulling it off. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the movie. Once we heard that there was going to be a movie, people were super excited because it's one of those games that really thrived from having a really fun plot. That's the thing. So once we heard that the movie wasn't even really going to follow the plot like at all, people were very confused. So to give an idea about what the premise is for the movie, basically it follows still a group of friends, one girl actually trying to find her sister, but here's the thing though, it's not on a mountain, it's just in like a supernatural like little house, little area, I should say, really. And so basically there's like this hourglass looking thing where they are now trapped in the little area I mentioned. Every time it turns over, it restarts like another horror scenario where they have to survive until dawn to escape. And I should mention that Dr. Hill is back, but he is in a different role in a way where he is studying, there are patients or whatever. So basically every time it changes the scenario or whatever, it looks like more and more of like the surrounding area is revealed. Granted, they don't really do much with it, so that's fun. But in like that little town, I guess he was a psychologist studying the patients at like this, is it sanatorium? Which is also in the game, but used to a different effect, I guess you could say. And yeah. So yeah, they have to survive until dawn. It's kind of like I guess in a way, a mystery box in terms of the scenarios. After every time they die, they come back to life again and they just get a new scenario to where they have to survive until dawn. So yeah, the movie doesn't follow the plot of the video game, which doesn't necessarily make it a bad thing by any means. But here's the thing though. So what the movie wanted to do was play along the idea of the butterfly effect. And so it had multiple scenarios. Sony Pictures, who does the whole thing, yada yada publishing, I don't know. They released a video of one of the writers saying that we want this to be almost like a sequel in a way, or an expansion of the universe, not an actual retelling of the plot. And again, people were like, we kind of like, if you're going to make it an Until Dawn movie or call it an Until Dawn movie, why are you not showing Until Dawn necessarily? The marketing of this movie was just not it. And we know that. And so how would you go about doing this? So I have like a few things, I guess I can put them up here. A few things that would make sense. The first thing I looked at was fan forums. So there are some people who were actually totally all for the idea of not having a canon ending. The game has multiple endings, depending on who lives, who survives. And so people like the idea of not having a canon ending. But that's the thing though, obviously there are a lot of other people who are saying, screw it, just give us a canon ending. People like this game because of the plot and the characters, and of course obviously the replayability of it, or the death scenes or whatever, but if it's not broken, don't fix it. Just give us one canon ending and be done with it. Have a good movie. You might think that's a good thing or a bad thing, but that is certainly one thing you could do if you wanted to just have an Until Dawn movie, which might have been maybe the safest thing to do, obviously, just because you could just follow the material. So my second thing here that they could do is follow the same ideas of the Last of Us TV show. Obviously, TV shows and movies are not the same, obviously, in terms of the runtime. TV shows, you're gonna have a lot more time to flesh out the characters, flesh out the world. And so I understand the idea where having a movie for Until Dawn, having seen all of the, and collected all of the evidence or whatever that comes with Until Dawn in the video game, you would not be able to compact that all into an hour 30, even I think like a 2-hour movie. So my whole thing is the idea where it's like, okay, so could we make it somewhat like the Last of Us TV show, and the idea where it follows the plot, but it changes up a few things or whatever, or expands upon the actual characters, that again, like just like the world of it. And it does it in a way where it offers gamers who have played the game, obviously, something different to watch and look out for, and still be surprised about something, but still feel like it's in the realm of the game. And then number 3 that I think you could do is, I should mention, give a little bit of context before I just say it. Supermassive Games is the developer of Until Dawn. And their whole gimmick, I guess you could say, is the idea of basically going through a story and having these characters survive. They have other games that follow the same idea. So like Until Dawn, they had another big game called The Quarry, which it was fun, it was cool. I mean, it wasn't Until Dawn, but and again, has the same idea of having characters and basically needing to survive until the end. And whoever doesn't survive, it changes the story. But here's the thing. Supermassive Games has a video game series called The Dark Pictures Anthology. It's basically a bunch of short stories that follow the same gameplay as Until Dawn, where you have a group of people who need to survive some event happening to them. And again, they have multiple endings depending on who lives and who dies. So my third thing would be to just market it under the Dark Pictures series. And obviously, in a way, maybe you couldn't do that because it doesn't really have enough marketing weight like Until Dawn would, in terms of like just like the general public. Not to say that the general public knows about Until Dawn like it would Mario or Legend of Zelda, The Last of Us now. Obviously, the general public doesn't really know Until Dawn. I mean, I had to explain to my dad like what my whole issue with this movie. Dark Pictures would hold a tiny candle up to the giant flame that Until Dawn would have in terms of marketing. So I understand not having it be called Dark Pictures just for that sake, but they probably should have called it Dark Pictures if they wanted it to kind of be like this, to really tie it into just the supermassive gimmick of, again, group of people trying to survive in like a butterfly effect type thing. So yeah, so with that, you kind of get the idea now where the movie is not like the video game in terms of plot, in terms of whatever. Granted, of course, it has the idea where it's multiple scenarios, a group of people trying to survive in some way. That's really the whole thing that they try to get going on this. And again, like I mentioned, they should have marketed it in a different way. Granted, as I look, the box office is actually doing pretty well for this movie. So, or at least they made their money back. So, hey, like that's not bad. And so yeah, let's go see the movie. Howdy. Oh wait. Oh yeah. I'm gonna take this.
You're gonna need that. It wasn't that cold last time.
I was cold.
Okay.
I'm here with my friend. And we're gonna go see the Until Dawn movie. There you go, now you can wave.
Hi. That's a nice shade of blue.
That is. I need to blur that license plate.
Oh, that's low.
Yeah, it is. Let me see if I can get it on the screen.
Just crash, right? So
No,
that's where you add explosion sound effect to make it fun.
No, see, that's the thing though. I always get scared where I'm like, if I hear something like that, I just hear, like in the distance, I just know I'm gonna hear. Hi.
Oh, we have to sit through that.
I'm really cold now.
Oh my god, this is How much is a large popcorn?
How much is it? 9? Basically 9 would be.
That is the same.
Yeah.
Dude, my pulse is popping. My pulse is popping off, man. I got like 1,000 minutes.
That's really cool.
So I'm clear that guy put my phone, not my phone number, my thingy wrong.
Oh.
I had to report him. You know how it is. Yeah. There's no one here. Oh my god.
I'm not surprised.
Girl, stop. Please. Let it go.
Oh no, of course, yeah. Okay, hi. Oh wait, hold on, make sure.
Are we talking about the movie? Are we just like reviewing the movie, or are we just like?
I was just gonna say, did you like it?
That's okay. Not the best. I mean, there were parts that I laughed at, like there were the tit at the guy's head. The kid at the guy's head. Boom.
Oh yeah.
Like I just kept thinking of all the Pringle TikToks or Vines where they just throw the kid and makes that sound. That was funny.
One thing that killed me. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
The one thing that got me was that the one time, so water's dangerous in this universe now, where they all took a sip or whatever, and they're all just talking, and this guy's just like, and they're like acting like they don't hear it at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think that whole thing was like just kind of like to be goofy, kind of, because again they're just exploding for no reason. Like that's funny.
That is so funny. Yeah. So would you? Yeah, you said 3 out of 5.
Yeah, 3 out of 5 stars.
I agree.
I thought you would hate it more, which is funny.
Well, no. Here's the thing. I just completely detached it from Until Dawn.
Yeah, which is what you should have done.
Which is well, I shouldn't have to do that, but I had to.
Oh my god. You should do that.
No, I did, and I enjoyed it a lot more because I did.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not Until Dawn. But hey.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not.
I just don't understand why the killer was the killer. Well, not Dr. Hill.
Yeah.
The other guy. Who would have been Josh, the killer.
Oh, well, I'm assuming it's just like one of the other patients, because he said like that he studied them, and it looked like a miner. A mining dude who worked at the mines. I mean, I assumed it, and then maybe he just gave him the mask, because he said he like studied them. I'm assuming it was all the people who got maybe trapped and obviously died, or like people who were traumatized by it or maybe got hurt and survived, and then I don't know. Man.
I think they totally just put it in just because they're like,
Oh, no, there's also that, yeah.
It's part of the game, so we have to have him.
But if we were looking for like a movie explanation, like from just the movie, I would say it's that. I thought her sister would have a bigger impact, to be honest.
Yeah. Well.
I mean, like, I know she died, but I thought it would like. Actually, I thought she'd be able to like talk to her or something. Maybe, but like I thought she'd be maybe be able, like, when she died, she'd be able to see her like all like healthy again and alive. But that didn't happen. But I guess I'm just used to seeing that in other movies, so I thought that they would do something like that. But
Used to seeing a point wrap up in a nice way in other movies.
well, I didn't expect it to like kind of wrap up. I just thought she'd see her sister instead of her just being like dead and like a monster.
Yeah.
And then I mean, that's growth. For being like, I love you, but I gotta get out of here. I gotta hit the road.
I'm gonna head out.
With the power of friendship.
Yeah.
I don't want her and Matt to get back together, but I think he's still cute and he's still nice.
Yeah, Matt was nice.
Again, they just like
Megan?
not Megan. No, yeah, she was hot. What was the other girl was hot too? What the fuck was her name?
Talking about Clover?
We're gonna call her Natalie. I don't know what her name is.
We literally don't know what her
She had
name
nice
is.
boobs. She had very pretty eyes.
Don't understand her uniform. Her outfit. I don't understand
Her outfit, I liked her outfit. It was hot, I think. No, but like her just killing Abe, being like, okay, you guys gotta go. He was annoying me. That was kind of funny. I mean, they're all gonna die anyway, but like, maybe they just saw a movie. I don't know. And then the whole firing squad, whole fire station. I think that's what they called it in 911. They just go see a movie. Just a bunch of buff dudes.
Do you think they survived until dawn? I was gonna say something else.
I don't remember. Yeah, I mean, it was fine. Now I want to watch Ready or Not with you. Because that one is actually a comedy. And there's some goofy, funny bits. And there's going to be a sequel, too, that I'm excited about. But we should watch that.
I feel like the dialogue was kind of cheesy.
Yeah.
I honestly was expecting him to be like, it's right behind me, isn't it? I was like waiting for it.
See, but would you have liked that, though? Because you like that cheesy stuff.
It would be kind of funny. I actually already saw the movie, so yeah. So now I'm moving on to my, I guess, formal movie review of this part of the video. So I have a few questions that I wrote up prior to seeing the movie that I would want to have answered. I'm not going to do like a frame by frame type, like this is what happens. So the first question I have is, was it a good/fun movie? And I would say, like I mentioned, if you didn't skip that part of me and my friend, I did mention that I did enjoy the movie once I just detached it entirely from the Until Dawn franchise, which I probably shouldn't have done, but hey. It just made it easier to watch it for me personally. Like, I hold Until Dawn at a pretty high ranking in terms of video games for me. I think I really enjoy that game a lot. And having this movie to go with it, it just doesn't really feel like it fits the world, which is another question actually. Let me just get back to my first question. So, was it a good/fun movie? Honestly, it was. It was fun, just a kind of slasher type thing to just sit back and eat popcorn and just watch people die in various ways. And yeah, beyond that, like if you just kind of turned off your brain and just wanted to watch it, it's not a bad movie. It's not a good movie. It's not a great movie by any means, but it's not a bad movie. There are things I like about it, which I'll get into after the questions or whatever. So number 2 here, does it represent the world well enough? And I think we all know it doesn't. There's only a few things where I'm like, okay, I could see where they took inspiration from the game or whatever. But overall, it didn't really feel like, to me, it was an Until Dawn universe or whatever. Which, if you think about it, the Until Dawn universe is just this universe. Yeah, so, I don't know. The thing is, too, is it also took a lot of the pre-existing elements of the game and kind of changed it in a way where it doesn't make sense. Or it doesn't really support just the overall story. And it's funny how I mentioned just now, I would have been cool with it being like The Last of Us, where they changed some of the aspects of their games and the universe to better fit the TV show. But with that, at least it felt like overall we got more pros than cons in terms of those changes. Granted, I have not watched season 2, so I'm so sorry. With Until Dawn, it didn't really feel like those changes, they almost just felt like careless changes, or ones that just kind of completely, I think, changed the aspect of like what they were in the game. Okay, but yeah, so just to get back to just to wrap up, did it represent the world well enough? No, it didn't. Again, I understand the idea that they wanted to build upon the universe and not just retell the story. But I feel like the stuff that they built upon and stuff, it just didn't really feel like it fit. Again, things were changed in a way to, I think, just make the plot of the movie fit better and not actually what felt close to the game. As I'm editing this, I thought of another way the movie could have felt more like the game. The game itself is very cinematic. People consider it to be an interactive movie in ways. This being because of the game's distinct style in lighting and its fixed cameras. Both were used to direct the player to important environmental clues and story elements as they roamed the map. With that, it also, of course, contributed to the game's mood. I think the movie could have chosen to use these same techniques in its cinematography to at least hint at a more Until Dawn vibe. Another thing, do I recommend the movie? I actually would overall. You know what, just watch it once. If you're not feeling it, then obviously turn it off. And then my last question, would be, would I rather play the game? Obviously, yeah, I would. There's just something about the game that the movie did not really capture, really, and that sucks. Granted, I will say, okay, so I think it would have been cool if they actually just gave us the game. But yeah, I mean, this game it can be long in terms of if you want to read everything that you find, or just in general, like different multiple paths. And I mean, it's a pretty big cast too, it's 8 people. So before I end the video, there's a few things, I just kind of want to do like what I liked about the movie and what I didn't like. Well, what I didn't like about the movie is, I think we've already kind of talked about it, but there's a few things I just want to talk about with the movie. The one thing that I really appreciated was the use of practical effects. I love practical effects. I think they're so cool. My dad loved them too. I actually want him to watch. There's a video I saw, so I didn't realize this. I was doing a little research for this video, and the director of the Until Dawn movie, he has a YouTube channel where he just talks about just whatever it is in filmmaking. One of the things that he mentioned was the use of practical effects in this movie, and kind of giving a little bit, without being too spoilery, give a little bit of an insight to how he went about it. And I think it's actually a super cool video. In a way, I kind of wish the Wendigo... So, okay, I should mention, there are Wendigo in this movie. In the movie, I was a little surprised they actually only just used prosthetics and stuff and makeup for actors to act as Wendigo. And so in ways I was cool with it, but in ways it also kind of didn't really get as scary as the game. In the game, the progression of the Wendigo, it wasn't human-like, and I think that was like kind of the scary thing about it, whereas in the movie, you could totally tell they were, I don't want to say just people in makeup, but I was waiting for like a big one to just be like all crack and whatever. But we didn't really get that, and so I was a little disappointed with that. I like the cast overall. I think they did a good job in terms of like acting wise, but the actual characters themselves, I was like... Another thing I will say, I guess this kind of relates a little bit back to the question, did it represent the world well enough? So there is one killer throughout the whole movie, which was a little confusing because I thought the whole premise of the movie was each time they die, they're facing something different. But no, this guy just kept coming back. And so I was like, okay, so I guess he's just going to be here for the whole thing, which is, I guess, okay. But again, it kind of defeats the purpose of having multiple ways to die and whatever. I thought it was going to be completely different reasons. I think it's the idea where it's like, okay, you can die from like getting impaled, but this time you can die from getting torn apart, and it's like, okay, well, I get that. With this certain character, killing them every single time, every single cycle, in a way, it didn't really feel like Until Dawn to me, but it actually felt like Dead by Daylight in a way. And I've never played Dead by Daylight. I know the gist of it. I get the gameplay loop of it in terms of there being a killer and then I think 3 people or 4 people, could be wrong, I'm so sorry, basically also escape by repairing generators or whatever, yada yada. It felt like with them constantly being killed by the same guy, it felt like you were watching multiple rounds of Dead by Daylight and not Until Dawn, which is probably not what they wanted to do. But, whatever, I guess. I thought that was interesting, so I wanted to bring that up because I noticed that. And I think I saw someone on the internet also mention it felt more like Dead by Daylight. And I was like, okay, good, it wasn't just me then. But think about that if you go see it, okay? Overall, I guess I would have this be ranked as a 3 out of 5 stars. Hopefully one day we actually can get an Until Dawn actual plot, even if it is just a canon ending. I don't care at this point. I'd enjoy it, and maybe you would too, because the game's awesome. And I think having a successful Until Dawn movie would really, I guess you could make it a franchise if you really wanted to, but like, just again, having more people see storytelling and good, awesome games there are to be played. And again, it's basically an interactive movie, so at least we can just play the interactive movie. And so, yeah. If you like this video, thanks. I had fun making it, and I love Until Dawn, so yeah, so I hope you liked it. I will see you in another video, and goodbye! I forgot to mention, I was gonna name drop the psychopath, but I completely forgot about it. So yeah.